The subject of today's talk is motivation. It's something I've always been intensely interested in, especially when it's oriented around salespeople, because I always admired people who could persevere and be upbeat and positive no matter what the circumstances or the odds that seem to be stacked against them. Now, when we talk about this, it always reminds me of my very first job in sales, and my manager asked a very insightful question on the interview. What he asked was, "Gary, how do you handle disappointment?" Well, I must have done a reasonably good job because I ended up working for the 3M company as a salesperson. Now, what I will tell you is that I entered into that job with some major misconceptions about what salespeople do, because I had salespeople calling on me when I was a buyer in an oil field supply company back in Houston. And what they would tell me is all about their expense accounts and their company car and their lunches out and their country club membership, and how they only worked about 4 or 5 hours a day oriented around the traffic in Houston. And I thought, wow, this looks like a piece of cake. I could do that. I could do it better than those guys could. And the other misconception that I had was because it was the 3M company and they had a predominant role in the marketplace, that would overcome any obstacle that I might face. People would just roll over to give me orders. Well, I was wrong. I was way wrong. After the initial high of being hired by a prestigious company, going through some excellent training, I was put out into the field, not by myself, still had some backing by my manager. However, you're still out there on your own, and quickly my beginner's high turned into discouragement, because unfortunately 3M was importing Japanese imports which were poor quality at that time, and the market was changing and they weren't competitive. That discouragement turned into disillusionment about what I was doing with my life, and why was I out walking up and down the sidewalks in 100-degree heat and a coat and tie trying to do copier demos to people who had no concept or no idea about buying a new machine. So that disillusionment turned into downright depression. I hated getting out of bed in the morning. I looked forward to 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon when it was a legitimate time to knock off. It was just a bad time for me, simply because I didn't have a big picture idea. I didn't have a motivating drive to keep me going despite the circumstances. So I would tell you that that's the answer. If you can have a big dream, way above and beyond the quota and the sales management pressure that you might be feeling, that's the dream that's so internally yours. You just buy it. You're all the way in. That's the dream that's going to take you through discouragement, disillusionment, even the prospect of even thinking about being depressed. Now, let me give you 3 points to help you along with your desire to have that compelling dream. First of all, I would tell you, write it down and repeat it often, regular, and daily until it becomes so rote in your mind you don't need a piece of paper to get there. Secondly, I would tell you to exchange all your little options for that big dream. Now, you know, as a salesperson, above and beyond most other people in the marketplace, you have more latitude to manage your time than anybody else. You can lapse into just checking off little boxes which make you feel good about what you're doing, but they have absolutely no real impact on you achieving what you want, which is that big dream of intense professionalism, respect, authority, and power in your given field. Now, the third thing I would say is you simply have to understand you have to pay a price. There's a price. You have to give up some things. Think about what you maybe can cut out that's so satisfying right now, it seems almost part of your comfort package, but it's not helping you achieve your big dream. In summary, what I have to say is that you absolutely have to make that dream your very own. It has to be at the core of your very being. And then when you run into obstacles, when you run into roadblocks, when it's cold outside, when you don't want to do it, when you're facing human confrontation about what you're trying to accomplish, that's going to give you the motivation to push through. This is an extremely important point of the whole message. Don't go away without capturing this aspect of motivation that the dream drives you onward to success.